The sounds of traditional hymns have become increasingly scarce in today's church services. The familiar hymnals that once filled the pews have given way to the contemporary beats and rhythms of modern Christian music. If you've ever wondered why worship music no longer carries the same timeless melodies and lyrical depth, you're certainly not alone. But here's the question: what has gone astray in modern Christian music? Today's video delves into the intriguing and often contentious topic of demonic choir dance and music in today's church, the changing landscape of worship. The days of worshiping as a profound union of the soul with the divine, when the air was heavy with reverence and when hymns were a sincere prayer to the skies, are long gone. The church used to be a refuge where the sounds of the outside world vanished and only the profound silence in which God's whisper could be heard. Now, when popular music beats have replaced the previous silence, the sacred area resembles a stage rather than a sanctuary. In the past, worship was a sacred communion between the individual soul and the divine. The atmosphere was thick with reverence, and hymns were more than just songs. They were heartfelt prayers reaching the heavens. The church was a sanctuary, a place where the noise of the world faded away, leaving behind a profound silence. In this silence, one could hear the whisper of God. However, today's worship landscape is vastly different. The pulsating rhythms of secular music have replaced the sacred silence, and the once holy space now feels more like a stage for a performance than a sanctuary for spiritual connection. Elevating music above the message. In our pursuit of contemporary worship, we have elevated music to a position that sometimes overshadows the Bible's core message. You can observe a lack of enthusiasm in the congregation during our worship services. Many have grown up in a Christian culture where a worship team, a band, and a music director handle nearly every aspect of the worship experience. Consequently, they've been conditioned to come to church and watch others perform their worship on their behalf. The prevailing culture of entertainment has exacerbated this shift. Have we strayed so far from the essence of worship that our choirs now seem to be competing for a spot on a talent show? From sacred harmony to secular entertainment. Do you recall when the choir used to be dressed in plain robes and sing in perfect harmony to create a sacred space? They sang spiritual melodies and hymns passed down through the ages, songs that extolled God's love, grace, and majesty. Now, though, they are dancing and swaying to music more often heard at a club, clothed in elaborate attire. Instead of leading the crowd in worship, it now emphasizes putting on a show that would garner acclaim. Remember when the choir members wore simple robes, their voices blending seamlessly to create a sacred atmosphere? They sang hymns and spiritual songs passed down through generations and eloquently expressed God's love, grace, and majesty. However, if you visit a church today, you might find the choir dressed in flashy outfits, swaying and dancing to the music more commonly associated with a nightclub than a place of worship. The focus seems to have shifted from leading the congregation in worship to putting on a performance that seeks applause. The perils of music symbolism. One crucial area that deserves special attention is musical symbolism. It's imperative to exercise extreme caution in this regard. There's a prevalent notion that certain music genres are adopted to attract a younger audience, but we need to ponder the extent to which we should compromise our values to win the world. We don't need to emulate the world's ways to bring them to God. This discussion about symbolism extends to dances within our churches. Some dances performed in churches are rooted in demonic inspiration. These dances are offered as symbols, effectively serving as offerings and libations to Satan. We must recognize that we are engaged in a spiritual battle, and the enemy is cunning, even in seemingly harmless or entertaining activities. The influence of secular dance in churches. The infiltration of secular dance movements into our churches is a concerning development. Many of these dance forms originated in practices far removed from godliness. Some even incorporate diabolical symbols and satanic invocations. The devil is relentless and does not take a break. He employs various means to infiltrate our worship and lead us astray. This occurs because the gospel's message has been diluted, and we have resorted to using worldly methods to attract people. If we continue to use carnal means to draw people, we'll inevitably attract a carnal audience, and keeping them interested in God will require even more carnal means. True worship, as guided by the Bible, is worship in spirit and truth. We must remember that our songs and acts of worship should glorify God, not just during a Sunday service but throughout our lives. Moreover, it is essential to recognize the potential consequences of well-known gospel artists transitioning to secular music. These artists once guided us into the presence of God through their music. However, the shift to secular music is taking us into uncharted territory. For instance, Dante Bowe, formerly a member of Maverick City Music, has raised eyebrows with his transition to secular music. Those in the limelight for Jesus must exercise caution because they are perceived as leaders for Christ. Their fame comes with the responsibility to give up their rights. The Bible warns against serving two masters, emphasizing the need for wholehearted dedication to God. Returning to the heart of worship. It is essential to remember the fundamental purpose of worship amid these challenges. Worship should be a pure and unadulterated expression of reverence and adoration toward God. It should be centered on the core message of the gospel and the teachings of Scripture. While music can be a powerful vehicle for worship, it should never overshadow or dilute the gospel's message. Instead, it should enhance and amplify the message. Music should be a means to lift the congregation's hearts and minds to the divine, creating an atmosphere of spiritual connection. Therefore, we must exercise discernment and caution when choosing and embracing music within the church. It should align with sound theology, glorify God above all else, and be free from compromise or contamination. Our aim should be to return to the heart of worship, where Jesus is the focal point, and our worship is pure, genuine, and untainted by the world. So, let us embrace the rich heritage of hymns and classic gospel songs, which have withstood the test of time. These songs offer straightforward, beautiful, scripture-based lyrics that exalt God and heal the soul. They can serve as a beacon, guiding us back to the essence of true worship. Our approach to worship and music has shifted dramatically over time. It's essential to reflect on these changes and consider whether they align with the core principles of our faith. As we navigate the evolving landscape of worship, let us be mindful of the spiritual battle we face and strive to maintain the purity and authenticity of our worship experience. If you found this discussion spiritually enriching, we humbly request your support by pressing the like button and subscribing to our channel for further enlightening content. Let us continue to journey together in faith and unity. Thank you.